Here we go. Every D&D class reviewed and tier ranked. I'm here with Andrew,
Hi.
and I put together a tier list of every single D&D class, and I actually don't know how long this video is going to be because we didn't do the subclasses. I just did the classes,
And there's
and
really
this
not that many.
actually of the 5e one. So
I mean, if you're playing fighter, you're instantly S plus, so
S
it
plus.
doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
It wins.
that's a good point. Let me let's switch over to the display capture, and let's do this. Okay, so we have here we got now the these came out a little weird, but we got Barbarian, Cleric, Druid, Fighter, Monk, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, Sorcerer, Warlock, Wizard, and Bard. And that one was a failed Bard emblem that I can't seem to delete for some reason.
Oh, that's fun.
So, am I missing any? I think that's all of them.
No, that should be all
That's
of them.
all of them in D&D 5e, not including Unearthed Arcana and stuff like that. But also, those are just subclasses. Maybe we should have done every subclass, but we don't have enough experience to
Yeah,
rank
that's a
every
lot of time,
subclass.
too.
Yeah, it's a lot of time, but that's the fun of it. Like I did that 2 hour long. But we can talk plenty about this, especially because we have different experiences with the classes. You play a lot of spellcasters, and I play a lot of fighters.
Exactly.
So I'm sure we're gonna have some different opinions. But we can start with the Barbarian. I think it's safe to say Barbarian is at least in the S tier. Right?
Yeah, you could say that, but I mean,
Just
what about the roleplay though? They don't have
Right,
a
we gotta
lot in terms of that.
We got to consider the roleplay. I think
Mostly barbarians are like big dumb, big strong.
Connor's the best character we've ever done, though.
I think you.
I'm
I
exaggerating.
think you're biased.
I think I am biased. You're right. I think you're right. We have to consider roleplay. So what are the factors here? We got combat, utility, roleplay.
Yeah.
I think those are good three criteria. And I actually would probably say that roleplay is the most important for me because it's a role-playing game. I don't think a lot of people think the same way, but that's what I like to do. I never really I've DM'd some games, and you have too, and I always tell my players when they come into it, I don't say, I don't tell them to come up with the best class. I say, tell me what it is you want to be, and let's put that into the classes. We'll work from there. Yeah, don't come to me saying I want to be a fighter who has Battle Master subclass, so that way I can disarm. No, just say I want to be a really good warrior who uses a katana. Tell me what you want to do, and we'll adjust it from there. Yeah. But just from you're right. The roleplay, I'm gonna drop it in S tier, and we can adjust. But
that is A tier.
I meant A tier. A tier. But we can adjust. But just from pure combat alone, I mean, the amount of damage that we've been able to do with the barbarians we've had playing our games is just insane.
Full rage.
Go into full rage, you get all these extra attacks.
Yeah, it's just kind of dumb. super strong.
And I think there is some roleplay to be said in there, but you're right, not as much. It sort of fits one criteria. You want that low intelligence, high damage, but at the same time, I'm sure a lot of people can play a high intelligence barbarian. Why not? If they want that rage.
A barbarian that uses super big words.
Right, maybe like a Hulk thing, you know?
Professor Hulk.
Professor Hulk, exactly, where they're just this monster, but is actually really smart. Or maybe they do a whole, when you go into your rage, it's I would like a concept of playing two different characters, like a Bruce Banner Hulk thing, where
when you're not enraged, you're Bruce Banner, and you have high intelligence, but when you go enraged, you lose everything.
The DM even lets you have different stats, but when you go into rage, you have to have 2 intelligence, but you get maximum strength.
Yeah.
But that would be kind of cheating because then
that is kind of cheating.
But it has to be whenever you're in rage, it's not easy to come out of it. Somebody has to
I mean, theoretically, you could do it. You could just be a wizard. And then when you get to multi-class, you can multi-class into a barbarian.
Right, there's multi-classing.
You're not Professor Hulk.
See, should we consider multi-classing when it comes to these rankings? Because a lot of these classes can be I think we have to keep that out.
I think we should just do it normal.
Yeah, because a lot of them, I might want to be but if you multi-class a monk and a rogue, no.
But see, that's the other thing. If you multi-class anything into a fighter, you get that. So.
Fighter is so OP first level, dude.
Dude, it's so funny.
For your upcoming game, I went into fighter 1 level just so I could get that +2 to archery instantly, which is insane.
And it's dumb.
It's dumb, but it's good. So I think Barbarian's a good A tier just because of their fighting. Utility wise, what can they really do utility?
Since they do have high strength, boulder in the way, punch the boulder, smashes it instantly.
And like all that high athletic skill.
Yeah, high athletic skill, you can jump really high. I'm Wolverine and I smell really far.
Yeah. So they can like, can they smell far? Is that a thing?
What, Wolverines?
No, Barbarians.
Well, if you think about it, Way of the Totem Warrior.
Right,
and they have animals. And I'm sure that could be like a funny thing. If you're like, Path of the Bear, I smell really, really far.
Right.
That chicken in the next
we do need to consider the subclasses.
I can smell that.
That's just high perception, yeah. But
that's just high perception.
I would consider. I would take in consideration their subclasses, and Barbarian has some of the cooler subclasses.
It really does.
Yeah. So I almost want to put in S tier because of their utility to like do stuff like that. But we'll put it in A tier for now.
Let's leave it in A tier, and
we'll come back and adjust later.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Cleric. I've never played a Cleric. Well, I played a Cleric I think one time.
Cleric, I'd say B tier. Solely because with a Cleric,
I'll drop it in B tier. Yeah.
That means you have the healing.
Yeah, they're the best healers
you could ever want, but you go smack the shit out of something if you really wanted to.
Yeah, you're right. But they have the best healing in the game, don't they? Yeah, they have the best healing in the game by far. So their utility's top tier.
Yeah,
and I really enjoy classes that allow you to put a lot of points into your abilities.
Yeah.
Where you can be proficient. That's why I like Rogue a lot, because you can just become proficient, like ultimate utility.
Yeah.
And I think Cleric does that well. I really like the role play opportunities with Cleric.
Yeah, me too. They're really good.
Like I love the idea of being like a priest who's like a badass priest, you know?
Yeah, it's just like, oh, you're gonna smack my Rogue in the face? Yeah. Smite.
Not the best in they have good combat with their spells. Like we have Logan who plays a Cleric right now.
Yeah.
Right? He's just full. He's not multi-class anything, is he? Just full Cleric.
He's a Way of the Tempest Cleric, I think that's what it's called. But then you also gotta think, with the combat ability that comes with Clerics, Paladins have the same thing.
Really?
And with the roleplay, Paladins are...
And they have better combat.
Better combat, less healing, but more roleplay on a Paladin.
Yeah, which is why Paladin's probably going to be above Cleric. But you're right, just the pure healing alone puts it in B tier at least. And there's some cool roleplay, but there's kind of like... I don't know, I try to make the roleplay work, but it just doesn't... I'd rather... Whenever I find myself doing a roleplay with the Cleric, where it's like, the only one that would be fun to me is a religious warrior, I'd rather just play Paladin.
You see, that's the thing. If I was going to play a religious warrior, I'd play a monk.
Right,
I think it'd be funny.
Which is what I did for your campaign right now. Which is cool, because I'm like, I worship a god, and I like, but I'm also like, beat people up and stuff. Yeah, you're right. A lot more combat with the monk, but healing puts it there. I like a Cleric a lot.
I like the Cleric a lot too. I think he's got a good resting place in B tier.
Yeah. They're not proficient in martial weapons, are they? They're just simple weapons, right?
I think so.
I think it's just simple weapons, but you can always counteract that by
multi-classing
into a fighter, or just they have feats. If you're a variant human, boom, right there from the start. That's why I love. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I remember when we were doing that part in Andre's campaign where we were fighting ourselves, right?
Right.
And Logan's a Cleric, and he was the last one we fought, and he turned into Goku.
Right, he went Super Saiyan, yeah.
And he ripped us a new one. And it was like, oh, my. That's not fun.
Yeah, you're right. They can be... Their spells.
That was so fun, though.
They have really high damaging spells. Like, Logan never uses his actual weapons, does he? It's just all spells. And he's really strong.
Well, yeah, that's the thing with the spells is a lot of times, if you in our campaign, we haven't been rolling very well at all lately.
No.
And with spells, it's not always you have to roll to hit.
Yeah.
They have to roll to dodge.
And they're very powerful.
So forcing the DM to do something like that and making him roll instead of you having to roll when you know you have bad luck is a significant advantage.
Yeah, especially because the DC rolls are usually less than what you have to actually roll to hit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Victoria, because I forget, she plays a Cleric too, full Cleric.
She's a healer Cleric.
She's like straight up utility. Like she hides in the back and she gives us that like bonus D4 to hitting things.
Yeah, it's just a concentration
all the time. Yeah, and that comes in handy so much. And she's always there. Every time we did anything, her character's always there to like help us and heal us. Like she's pure utility, and that works really well. So I think that's what I was thinking like, oh, maybe I should drop it to C tier. But thinking about Victoria's character and how many times the entire party has not died because of her utility, puts her at B tier. And you know, they also come in handy a lot of times. It's like, oh, we don't recognize this artifact. I'm proficient in Arcana, so can I? Or oh, do I recognize it because of my religion and stuff like that?
Yeah, and that's all good things. But then another bad thing about clerics is how do you play an evil cleric? It's really hard to play an evil.
That's a warlock.
Exactly.
An evil cleric's a warlock.
Because that's what a cleric is.
You could do like I could match like, you know, there's always the fall into the dark side, but you know what's even better? You know what that works better for?
Heal.
Paladin.
Yeah.
Play a fallen paladin.
Yeah.
You're right. It's kind of hard to play an evil cleric.
I mean, that's the thing with paladins, though. But we'll get that one.
And I think clerics can be kind of annoying when they're like, "My God, it's like shut up. I don't." Carlin. Yeah, Eleanor. Yeah.
Shut up.
Good, Carlin. I mean, it's kind of funny though. So it is her role play.
No, she does actually a really good job with it.
But you know, I think B tier is a good tier for that. So then we got Druid. What are you thinking for Druid?
A lot of people say Druids are bad, but I disagree.
I like them a lot.
I think
they're so much fun.
I want to put them in B tier too.
I think B tier is what I was thinking.
Because they're so good at role play.
So much fun, and like I love just it's such a different class that you can do damage differently. I love classes that allow you to do damage differently from straight up stabbing people. Because I've played most of what I played, as you know, is somebody who stabs people. So I'm always looking for an opportunity to play something different. I almost played a Druid in your upcoming one. But and the role play is so good and it can be so much fun and it's so much fun to transform into different animals and how you can do stuff like that. Also, it's extremely powerful.
Yeah, remember when Logan accidentally turned himself into a hawk and he killed everything?
Yes, yeah, when we were fighting like a dragon when we were like level 2.
Yeah,
and we were supposed to lose and we almost won.
Yeah, because Logan turned into a hawk before he was supposed to be able to.
Who was that character? That wasn't Boros. Who was that? That was his other character.
I do not remember.
We've lost track. But it's actually really powerful. You're right, but also he wasn't allowed to do that because we didn't understand the rules fully.
Yeah,
he wasn't supposed to be able to turn it, but still,
he was not supposed to be a hawk.
And it's really powerful because all those animals have different health pools than your normal one.
Yeah, you just turn.
So you just have extra health.
Yeah.
If you're about to die, I'm a bear now, just instantly, and I think they're a lot of fun to play. I just like the idea of transforming the different animals, like Beast Boy from the
It's like if you want to play Beast Boy, play Druid.
Yeah. And the role play is really fun. I love like the idea of like a person who also just has all these pets and like follows them around in nature
like,
and stuff.
I am the Lorax.
I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. Yeah, and I really like the idea of playing a druid who like is really athletic, almost like a druid rogue.
Yeah.
Like an idea I almost did for yours was a druid rogue who like uses her rogue abilities to protect nature, so she like fights crime.
Like Robin Hood.
Like Robin Hood, yeah. Like Robin Hood could totally be a druid. And also really good healing. Some of the best healing.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Good berry.
Good berry is my favorite spell.
Good berry is
the best spell in the whole game.
Yeah, it really is. It's so fun.
I have good berry. Actually, I have the ability. But I had like with my ranger has the ability. Yeah. We'll get the ranger soon. I think druid is a good B tier.
No, yeah.
For now. So fighter S plus tier, and they're so overpowered. But I mean, I think it's kind of fair, almost in a way of like, I like the idea that like, if you're gonna play a fighter, you're gonna be overpowered. But all you can do is fight people. But like, duh, of course that'd be better.
Yeah, you're a fighter.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense to me. Lower on the utility side, you know, they don't have a lot of options when it comes to being able to be proficient in, and they have like a couple options to be like skills to be proficient in. Mm-hmm. But there's not a lot at all, and it's all about just how good of a fighter can you be.
Yeah.
From the very start, you can get a +1 to your AC, a +2 to your archery, or you can get a +2 to your one-handed fighting, like from the very beginning. And you can multi-class with every class can benefit from taking a level in fighter. Yeah. Instantly become proficient in all weaponry, all shields, all armor.
Yeah, and it's not just like, oh, fighters are cool. You have no idea how much I want to put fighters in F tier. But you just can't. They're just too strong to do that.
They're too strong.
The roleplay opportunities are there because there's nothing really holding you back from doing what you want.
You're right. And a lot of times when I find myself like, I really want to play a certain character from like a genre I love. Like if I want to play Jon Snow,
he's a fighter.
He's a fighter. Yeah, my first instinct is Paladin, but Jon Snow doesn't have magic, so he's a fighter.
Yeah.
Like it's just instantly there, and you can be that. As a fighter, you can literally just be anything you want to be, and say you are. So yeah, the role play's there, the utility's there. No spells, but also that's kind of good, and that can be viewed as good in some ways because there's no complications at all.
No.
Obviously, the easiest thing to play.
Yeah.
In the whole world, because it's just all right in front of you. Like I made a monk. I made a monk fighter actually, but I printed out. I have to show you that I printed out his character sheet, like 3 full pages of stuff that I need to know for being a monk. And fighter, it's just like there's like one thing on there that's fighter, and it's the best thing I have on there. And it's like one feature +2 to archery. Boom.
Yeah.
If you want to play an archer, people are like, oh, play a archer ranger. No. I say no. Play a fighter.
No, if you want to play spellcasting archer, ranger is the way to go. But if you just want to be a pure archer sniper, fighter.
Fighter, yeah.
Put that little fighter in there.
And I think which subclass is Arcane Archer?
I believe that would be
Is that Rogue?
No, that's Arcane Trickster.
Arcane Trickster, yeah. I think it would be fighter, huh?
No, Arcane Archer sounds like it would be part of Ranger, but I do not know.
Maybe it is. I don't remember. I don't remember that being a. Here, you can look it up. Yeah, I don't keep talking.
I'm gonna break the rule and get on my
but you
phone.
could do. Yeah, but you can do literally any weapon you want to use. Boom, you got it. Any shield, any armor, anything you want.
Yeah, and it's a Ranger subclass.
It's a Ranger subclass. Okay, interesting. So yeah, there's Arcane Archer. Yeah, going in. But like you said, if you just want to be a straight up sharpshooting, amazing archer, especially from
if you want to play a true to Lord of the Rings Ranger, you might want to put some things in fighter.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Because Lord of the Rings, you say this all the time, he has a really big sword.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah, Aragorn.
He's fighting monsters. Monsters, sometimes you gotta get up close and personal. But then on the spellcasting side with Ranger, you could do what Dean does, and his DM's super cool and lets him do whatever he wants. So he makes his own spell that like combos 2 different spells,
Jesus.
And he clears an entire room with it. He calls it Hail of Thorns.
That's a ranger spell that Dean made up.
So what it is it combines something with thorns and rain of arrows, and basically he shoots an arrow in the sky. It falls down, and I think it's basically an entire room he can cover with it.
That's insane.
And then once the arrows, he describes it as once the arrows hit the ground, they splinter, and all the thorns go and hit everything, and they do more and more and more damage.
Yeah, I didn't play. I was gonna play that campaign.
Were you?
I was gonna be in that campaign you're talking about, and I was like, I'll tell you why I didn't do it later. But I was actually pretty busy. But that sounds absolutely insane. Jason kind of doesn't let him do anything. But yeah. Anyway, fighter, that is cool. But fighter, you can do anything you want. Literally anything you want. It is the ultimate roleplay class because it just branches out to everything.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping you.
And it's kind of almost like I almost want there to be a nerf to it, but actually what I want is everything else to be buffed up to that level. It's all about the roleplay. It's a role-playing game, and I can't fault a class for allowing somebody to roleplay so easily. It could be what they want from the start. And what's cool about it is a lot of times if you have a character you want to play, it takes a couple levels to get to that character. Fighter, not at all.
Yeah.
From the very beginning, you get just the options alone from the very beginning, getting a +1 to AC or a +2 to Archer. That's insane.
That is really crazy.
So Fighter definitely S+. I don't think anyone will argue. So next we got Monk. And I've never played a Monk, but I'm about to play a Monk, and I really don't know where to put this one.
I hate to say it. I hate to do it to him, but I think he's C tier.
At least, yeah. Because I think he's a lot of fun. Roleplay is top of the charts. But everything else kind of just drops down. Because in order to make like my Monk work really well, I had to multi-class into Fighter.
Yeah, because Fighter's so strong.
To get what I wanted,
considered pretty weak.
The Monk is considered pretty weak. You don't get any martial weapons, but that's okay. I'm not mad at the Monk for this.
No.
Something could be in the F tier, and I think it's still class worthy of playing.
Yeah.
Everything should be played, but you're right. Like, there's nothing... Monk is always gotten crapped on ever since it was around. I think like D&D 2nd edition.
Yeah.
It has been around and it's got crapped on. It's not the best in combat. It's not the best in spells. There's some really cool subclasses and some of the best roleplay. I mean, playing the Drunken Master, if you actually read the Drunken Master subclass, it's not good.
It's not?
It's not good, no. You don't get anything, really. You get like a bonus to your performance. But it's freaking awesome.
That's for roleplay.
That's for roleplay. It's 100% roleplay, but it's freaking awesome and I love it. And utility, yeah. And I love it. There's some good utility. You can be
monks aren't that great of fighters, but
yeah,
they're very good at everything.
And you can, and as you level up, it gets better because you can get to the different subclasses, and all of a sudden you have, like, if you subclass into the way of the Kinsai, like all of a sudden you're able to use a longsword and a longbow extremely effectively as a monk, and still getting all those monk bonuses and being able to do the unarmed strikes, inferior blows as bonus actions.
Or just multi-class into fighter.
Exactly. Well, that's what I did. I multi-class into fighter. Yeah, exactly. Just to become, just to get that +2 to archery, because I'm playing like an archer, monk, or whatever. But I couldn't do that unless I multi-class into fighter. And nothing's wrong with that, but monks are really good. Have it and then multi-class out. Yeah. But there are some great roleplay opportunities in it that I love. I love all the... If you take any sort of archetype, you can kind of fit it in the monk. Mm-hmm. You know, if you take a Jedi... You could argue it's a monk. It's a monk, yeah. I mean, probably a monk / paladin / something else. But right, like anything can fit in the monk. The unarmed combat's so much fun.
It really is.
It's so cool. The idea of doing like spin kicks and stuff like that. Like that's a lot of fun. But no matter what you do, and an unarmed strike is never going to be as good as stabbing it with the sword.
Yeah.
You can do multiple unarmed strikes, but that's if you hit them all, and it's way cooler. But also, as you level up, you can do multiple unarmed strikes. I mean, you can do multiple sword attacks. And they got Fury of Blows, but that uses a key point. You can do that every once in a while. And it's really good to pull it every once in a while. And you get that one really cool moment, but then you kind of can't do anything again because you still are only able to punch people.
Yeah.
Or you can use your monk weapons, but no monk weapon is as good as just a martial weapon. But that's okay.
But nothing's really as good as just beating it with your fist.
Yeah, exactly. And the subclasses, they don't really have enough branching out, in my opinion, at least the ones that I've messed around with, and I had to look at all of them. They're good. They allow for some really cool things, but just not special in any way. But I still love the monk a lot. And I'm playing one, but it's at least C tier, maybe even lower. The only thing that's keeping it up there for me right now is the fact that you can do the multiple, like very early on in the game, you unlock the ability to do multiple attacks in one turn with your unarmed punches, and if you play it right, that can be really good. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna have to come back and probably adjust these, but let's look over here at Paladin now. Paladin's probably S tier.
Yeah.
I don't think S+.
No, I think S.
But I think S tier is probably the best place for it right now.
Actually, I'd say A.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Lack of roleplay options. If you want to play anything, because if you want to be a bad paladin, you're a fallen paladin. But if you want to play anything else, you have to be good.
You have to be good,
You can't be true neutral. You can't be any type of neutral.
Right. Yeah. There's no.
You have to be.
Or chaotic. Well, you can be chaotic. Yeah, you kind of have to be lawful good, and it kind of because it doesn't make sense. And another thing, you don't have to do anything, but if you want it to make sense and not be annoying to the rest of your game, then you have to do these things.
Yeah.
And you're right. But I could see I see your point there 100%, but I still really...
And I just don't see, like... Yeah, we put Cleric below it, but that's because Paladin does have the healing, but he also has the fighting.
The fighting and, like, the smite, and you can destroy everything. And I do think that Paladins are really cool.
No, yeah.
But I have found myself, I often go, like, oh, I'm going to play a Paladin. Nah, what holds me back is the roleplay.
Yeah.
It's because I'm like, I don't want to be that.
Mm-mm.
No, I'd rather just be a fighter and kind of do whatever I want with it and have a little bit of an edge to it. You can have a fallen paladin, but then you're just kind of obnoxiously evil. And I mean, I'm sure more creative people than us can come up with very, very cool ways. But looking at it strictly as what it is, you're right. Bit of a lack of roleplay. You kind of have to be good. I don't always enjoy classes that involve... Like, I don't like playing classes that involve making deals or, like... worshipping gods or whatever,
Yeah.
and like having all the power come through that. Something about that just doesn't ever really click with me. It's why I don't play Warlock. It's why I don't play Paladin. Why I don't play Cleric. It doesn't click with me. I don't really like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of the power maybe coming through yourself, and maybe you can do. I've seen arguments to say that that Jedi are paladins because they're making these sacred oaths and whatever.
Yeah,
you can
the
take the
Force.
oaths and that could be really cool. Like that can be really cool for some role play if you become so dedicated to your oath that you're letting it cloud your actual judgment.
Yeah.
You can have some character arcs there, but that's the kind of thing that takes a lot of time to get through, and in the end it can come out really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Paladins are really cool, but I also think they're cool to multi-class into other things.
Yeah.
I think they're good for multi-classing, but then it's an A tier because it has healing and it has great combat, just like a fighter. You have proficiency in all the martial weapons, the shields, the heavy armor, the spells. Right, the spell from the start of the game. You can have chainmail armor, which is great, and you have all the different spells you can look into and just become a really powerful fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Just like take out entire rooms full of people with like one spell, and take a long rest, and boom, you're back at it again. And then you have the longsword, and then you can just fight like you're just any other fighter too.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you have the heavy armor, and really good class there.
Definitely a good class.
Definitely a good class. Yeah, I think we can come back and talk about that one some more. But let's go on to Ranger,
F tier,
which is gonna be
F tier.
I'm gonna
F tier.
See, this is the joke here. I play a Ranger.
It's definitely B tier.
You think B tier? You think it's?
I think it's definitely
above
B.
C. Now, are we taking into account the Unearthed Arcana that just came out for the Ranger? Did you?
I think that's the only fair way to do it.
I agree.
It's the only way you can do it fairly, and that's why I'm saying B tier. It's because it's all the Unearthed Arcana for Ranger is pretty good.
It's really good, yeah. I like the ideas for it. I'm actually not switching to the Unearthed Arcana one though, only because it really I think this is cool, and it really focuses down on picking a favorite enemy and being able to absolutely destroy that favorite enemy. Yeah. And I could do that, but I like kind of the way mine works now, where I can be kind of broad, but not be as good with it, but I can detect where anything is, but now you can detect where your favorite enemy is and exactly where it is and go to it, which is really cool, and some just great utility. Ultimate utility with the Unearthed Arcana stuff. Having a Ranger in your party can be extremely beneficial. You can have them scout, because they can sort of move through their favorite terrain better. We're going to be going to a mountain coming up in our game, and I think my favorite terrain is mountain.
Yeah.
I love Ranger. I mean, obviously, I've played a Ranger in our main campaign. I won't shut about how I'm a Ranger. Maybe you've heard of me. I'm a Ranger.
Maybe you've
heard of me, right? But what's the one thing you guys have been telling me ever since we started this campaign?
Why are you using a bow? You're a Ranger.
Yeah, that, and what's the other thing? You're right, that's true. Why not just play a fighter?
Oh, yeah.
That's what y'all said. One is the why aren't you playing a bow and it's going to Arcane Archer, and the other one is why don't you play a fighter? You're using a sword, why aren't you playing a fighter? And that reminds me, the subclasses for Ranger are not great.
No.
I'm a Hunter right now, which, it's good. I got Colossus Slayer, another D8. That's good and all, but Beastmaster's cool. It needs a buff.
Yeah,
I like the idea.
You get a pet with that?
You get a pet, but that's it.
Yeah.
Kinda, and but the Unearthed Arcana stuff makes it a bit better, the different stuff they have. But yeah, the subclasses are not super great and versatile, and don't allow for a lot of options. I still do like the Ranger. I like how you kind of can play a Ranger with a bow, or with dual wielding daggers, or with a sword.
Yeah.
The only other class that can kind of do that is the fighter. If you want to really play that character who, I use a crossbow now, right? So if you really want to play the character who has a crossbow and a shield and a sword and can pull out 2 daggers, you either have to do Ranger or you have to do fighter.
Yeah.
Nothing else can really do that. I guess Rogue could do that with some tweaking, but that's what puts Ranger up there for me. And then you get it's like a Ranger's a lot like a fighter to me, as in you get some of the fighting and you trade off some of the damage you could do. Level 1 with fighter, you can get those choices that be like your fighting style. I think it's level 4 with the Ranger you get that. But you get some utility. You get more proficiencies in things. You get some spells. Don't forget about those really good ranger spells,
dummy thick
which
ranger
get
spells.
better as you level up. Yeah. Another problem with the ranger I've discovered is once you reach level 20, it's kind of like super underwhelming. I think you get to add your wisdom modifier to stuff, which is like great. I get to add +2 to things now. Cool, I guess. But by level 20, it's like who cares?
Yeah.
Ranger
never get to level 20 in the first place.
Right, we're never going to get there, but and ranger does kind of limit some things only in you kind of have to either pick, are you going dexterity or are you going strength? And you have to have that wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And it really leaves out the opportunity for me to have like charisma. Like obviously I'd love it if Jamie, my character, had some more charisma, but he doesn't. But that also opens up some roleplay opportunities.
Yeah.
Right? To be like to think I'm really charisma. Yeah, to think I'm really charismatic, but it doesn't work. Yeah. So the utility puts it there. But why'd you say B tier and why not put it in, we're talking pretty high about it. So what keeps it out of the A tier?
Because fighter is just a better version of it.
Right. Now what makes it why would you rather play a barbarian than a ranger? There's much better fighting. 100%
yeah, barbarians
right.
is significantly better fighting. I mean, rangers are supposed to be, I speak with the trees, animals, but then that's also a druid. And it's like, but I have favored terrain and everything. It's like, but barbarians could theoretically do the same thing. They don't have the favored terrain, but...
Right, yeah, they still can sort of do everything a ranger might be good. Yeah. And paladins, they have better spells, I think, than rangers. They have better spells and better fighting, and...
They don't have good berry. I don't think.
Really, they don't have good berry.
I don't think they have good berry. Which is kind of like, I think that holds it back.
Yeah.
That's what's keeping Paladin out of S+.
They have good berry. S+, baby.
Yeah, dude, actually leave it in S+. Yeah, they have good berry.
What else has good berry?
Druid.
Yeah. So a ranger's kind of a mix of a druid and a fighter.
Yeah.
But druid and fighter do what they do better. So I think that's why B tier is a better... Is a good place
jack
for
of all trades, but not very good.
Like bottom of B tier. Like if you right here, that's top of B tier. This is bottom of B tier, below the druid, definitely below the fighter, because they just do it better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they have better options. They get their options faster. Yeah, it's really good. Next we got rogue.
Definitely S+.
You think S+? Definitely.
Definitely.
Okay, I'm gonna put it there for now, but I might have to argue with you a little bit. But What puts the rogue in S+?
I think the S+ is their combat strength. 100. They have really good combat. They don't have their roleplay doesn't always have to be a tragic backstory. They can be a super wealthy person who's just like, nah, screw you, dad. Yeah. And now he's just going.
Rogue probably has the best roleplay in the game, I think.
I don't know if they have the best, but I don't think
it's up there.
The thing with that is that anyone could have the best, depending on how good.
Right. But like, if you're looking at it, if you have like the dumbest person in the world, is what I'm saying. Like you have like the most uncreative person in the world, and you put these classes in front of them. The only one they'll probably be able to roleplay effectively would be the rogue.
Yeah,
is what I'm thinking. Rogue is kind of easy to roleplay. Now their combat, that's interesting because they're not proficient in martial weapons. Mm-hmm. But they do have short swords and stuff like that. But what makes their combat so great
is their ability to ambush.
Right?
Those extra
evasive footwork.
Yeah.
They have some of the best subclasses in the game.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
So much versatility in what you want to do.
High utility.
Oh yeah. The best utility by far, because you can get expertise.
Yeah.
So by like level, I think actually you get expertise at level 1. So by level 1 you can have like +6 and stuff, and then as you just level up, like I just play around with the leveling, and I like, what would happen if I made a level 20 rogue, freaking +17 in acrobatics and crap like that, like just insane stuff. Some of the best scouts, some of the best movement. I think monks have the best movement because you can pretty easily, as you level up, you get to like 55 movement, like just by leveling up basically. But rogues have that evasive footwork. They have the stealth. They can scout a whole room without being seen. They have the ambush and the disengaging as a bonus action, which I don't think anything else can do. Nothing else can do that. I think if you I think maybe there's like some feats that allow you to do that, but rogue just gets it by leveling up. They get that evasive footwork. Really, really powerful. And they're not proficient in martial weapons, but that's okay because they have crossbows and short bows if you want to play range, and then they have the daggers, which you can dual wield the daggers.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't have a long sword, but you can dual wield those daggers. Yeah. Or I don't think you can dual wield short swords.
I don't think.
But you can get a feat that allows you to do wield short swords.
Exactly.
So, like, right there, if you just put a little tweaking into it, you can be even better. But if you just do the base rogue stuff...
And if you're a dwarf, you instantly have so much health.
Right, yeah, you can be like a dwarf rogue who has all of that health. The common archetype is a halfling rogue.
Yeah, I know.
I never got that.
No.
I just don't see halflings as that. I think it's because in The Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins is like the thief. He's the rogue because he's sneaky. So I guess it works for that. But I never liked the... It never clicked with me being a halfling rogue. But I see why people do it. And just for utility sake alone, I mean, halflings have that, get that +2 to dexterity. They get that halfling luck. Then be like lucky, just get out of every situation like a rogue
just
could.
a gnome.
You can have a high charisma rogue, which is super fun. Like, if you put all that stuff into charisma and intelligence, you can just play this character so different from everything else, where you really focus on your espionage to get ahead, and maybe instead of fighting the bad guy, you sneak in and use your intelligence to set a trap for him, or you find documents that prove that he's guilty, and you can go turn that in, and using your charm, using disguises, getting into parties. So much versatility with what you can do. Just the other day when we were playing and we had to go to that criminal underworld to see the Rat King, and Maddie got me in just because she was doing the roleplay versatility, the different things you can do as a rogue. Nothing else really matches that, I think, unless you come up with a backstory.
Yeah,
you get Thieves' Cant, you get that criminal backstory, and lots of cool stuff like that. I think the rogue. I think you're right. S+, just for the straight up versatility and utility.
The roleplay is so good,
and the combat is almost.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd say Barbarian and Paladin probably have better combat than it, but their combat is good enough to plus the utility. You know. So you're right. I think it's a good place for it for now. So what about Sorcerer? Now you play Sorcerer, so you gotta be a little unbiased, huh?
I'd say A tier.
You think A tier? Now, it's going to be interesting. I'm just going to drop this here right now.
How dare you?
No, just listen. So we got these 3 actually, the Bard's even a spellcaster, right? Yes. So we can just talk about all of them, and that's just the messed up Bard one.
You have to leave the messed up Bard one in F tier.
That's what I'll do. So, we have these spellcasters. What makes them different from each other?
Okay.
I know the backstories that make them different, but when it comes to actually playing them in the game, what makes them different?
Okay, so what makes them so much different is that the Sorcerer is they're born with this ability to use magic. They automatically have it. And so their spellcasting modifier is their charisma. It's because they're talking and they're using their words and whatever to do it. And so that's what makes them them. In that, personally, I like to see sorcerers as more, since they get their powers naturally, they get to use more naturally based spells. So like fire, ice, wind.
But that's just your own kind of personal.
That's my own kind of personal preference. But I think it makes sense with a sorcerer.
Yeah.
And then a warlock, you make pacts.
Right.
And
so
you get that kind of power, and that's where the role play comes from. Is I have to do something to
made a deal with the devil,
so I could live.
Right.
And so now I have these magical powers, but I have to give him souls once a day.
Yeah, like Ghost Rider's a warlock. And, okay, gotcha.
And then wizard
just from studying.
Yeah, wizard studying, and their spellcasting modifier is different, and it's intelligence.
Right. So, and sorcerer is charisma. Wisdom is, warlock is wisdom, isn't it?
I think warlock is also charisma.
I think you're right. Warlock is charisma too. Then you got intelligence. Bard is also charisma. So you're right, but wizards are the ones that stand out to me because of how different they are, where they can just completely learn everything from their book. They have their book, and you can actually prepare spells after a long rest.
Yeah, and if you find a different spell book with different spells in it, you can write those spells down for a cost.
Oh yeah.
If you buy a scroll and you can read that scroll, you get that spell.
Oh, okay, cool. So here's what I think we should do with the spellcasting. In the F tier, we're gonna rank them this is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Let's rank them just amongst themselves, and then we'll put them into the other tiers with the other stuff. That makes sense? So which is the best spell? You played more spellcasting than I have.
I think the best spellcaster is for utility-wise, it's the Bard.
Right. Now, overall, do you think?
Overall, I think I want to say it's the Bard.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Because the Bard, you're right, has the ultimate in utility spells.
They have the ultimate utility. They have the ultimate roleplay. Because you can be an asshole bard, but you can also be a super nice bard.
You can be anything you want with the bard.
Yeah,
it's so much fun.
They also have some good damaging spells, albeit I never really got into them.
Yeah.
I stopped, but... So bard's definitely the best spellcaster.
Yeah, they have some good damages, but not as much as the others, but like just from pure... They're the best to have in a party, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I think a party... If you have a party and you're saying... Let's say you have a party of all these other classes, and you get to add a bard, you get to add any of the other ones, it's going to be a bard.
Yeah.
I think that they fit the best.
It's a good thing to add.
There's always something you can get out of a bard. You can maybe get high damage from high magical damage from a cleric or something like that, but to get that, the charm and the utility and to get out of any situation and everything like that, bard is where it's at. I think that's a good point. I think you're right. Just because of how if you're going to have to pick what to have in your party, I'd pick bard.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's so different from the other ones.
Yeah, it's so different.
Yeah, and it's so much fun. Mm-hmm. So, you got these three.
And the second best, I want to say it's the wizard.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Because the wizard also has the utility. They do have the ability to help and support, but they also have the super high damage. Their roleplay is still really good.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's
classic. And if you wake up...
Yeah,
if you wake up in the morning as a wizard and you know going into it, okay, we are going to go through this dungeon. I could really use some detect magic and some detect traps and stuff like that. We have enough damage. The spells I'm going to prepare for the day are going to be this spell. Or if you wake up and go, okay, we're going to go fight a boss. Like, on that other room, there's definitely some, like, really hard boss battles.
Yeah.
Let's put in my fireball. Let's put in the stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can always change it up with the preparing spells, and you can just add new spells theoretically at any moment. Whenever you find
really
it.
Could.
You really can. Lots of different options. You get the necromancy. That's like subclasses, right? So, the subclasses have a lot of versatility. Especially in Bard, I think they do. But
yeah, they really do.
They really do. But then Wizard, like, you have the different subclasses you can go into that specialize in different types of magic. And you're right. Also, classic roleplay. You know, you got Gandalf the Grey and stuff like that, where you can draw from to build a really fun roleplay. I like the roleplay like this really intelligent kid who's learning magic and he's kind of messed up with it. Harry Potter, like, I mean, you have Harry Potter as a wizard, so. Yeah, okay. That's a good shot. And then we got Warlock and we got Sorcerer.
I think Sorcerer is better than Warlock.
Really? Now, I've heard a lot of people put Warlock higher, but only because they say, yeah, multi-class into fighter and you have the ultimate character.
You do.
Yeah.
But with a Warlock, a lot of times you have to be an evil Warlock. I think there's one or two of them where you can be a good Warlock.
Mm-hmm.
But... with a Sorcerer, you can be kind of whatever you want.
Yeah, Sorcerer, because you're born with it.
Yeah.
So you could theoretically be, you're right, anything. It's just like a fighter where you could be like you could be a good person who, got magic. Or you can be a bad person. You could be like an evil, like, crime lord and all of a sudden you find out you have magic and maybe you want to turn it around and be good. Or you can just straight up you can have magic and learn like, oh crap, I'm going to be evil and use it to my advantage and stuff like that. One of my favorite characters I've ever made, John Fable. Remember John Fable? He's a sorcerer, and he just, like... He's John Constantine, basically. Like, just, like, the sorcerer who, like, has this magic and can't really control it, but now... So he's just a drunk and, like, dealing with it. Like, he doesn't want it. He's cursed. Like, he just doesn't want it. That's another thing. Like, you can have that roleplay where you just don't want it. And they have... all these super powerful spells to their advantage from the very beginning.
Yeah.
From the very beginning, you can have an extremely damaging character, plus some utility. There's some options for utility when it comes to Sorcerer.
Yeah.
Some really good options. And what about the subclasses for Sorcerer? Have you looked at those? How are those?
They're alright.
They're alright. I haven't looked at it enough to really talk about it, to be honest. This is where I might falter a little bit. And then Warlock. Why do you think Warlock is the worst of the spellcasters?
Well, it's not the worst. The messed up bard you made is the worst. But,
right. Yeah.
Warlock, I don't like Warlocks that much because I feel like you do kind of have to be evil to do them properly. You don't have to. Like, there is a good Warlock, but most of them aren't that nice of people.
Right, yeah. I kind of find them boring. I never want to play a Warlock.
You don't get nearly as many spell slots as a Warlock.
Really, you don't?
No,
I didn't know that. See, I don't know. All I know from just a roleplay standpoint, I could not care less about being a Warlock. That's just a personal preference. So where would you put these then now amongst the rest of the tiers?
Bard, I'd put it in S tier.
Probably just that pure utility. And how much fun it is.
Yeah. Wizard, I'd put in S tier as well.
Okay.
Sorcerer, A tier.
Sorry, I don't know what that is.
Shut up.
Shut up, Siri.
Shut up. And then
Warlock
is in B tier.
Alright. So that leaves the monk as the worst class in the game. Let's take this out. Can we take that out again? We'll keep it there as whatever. That leaves monk as the worst class in the game. That's sad, but
it's a common thing. A lot of people think it.
I think that's got to be how it is, but I'm still gonna play it.
Yeah,
and that just shows like it doesn't matter. You can
play whatever you want.
You can play whatever you want, and it's fun. So let's kind of stretch this out a little bit. So what if I put monk in D tier? Then where would you put these? Which one of the B tier would drop to the C tier?
I'd put warlock in C tier.
Okay, I think that's probably what's better. And then F tier is broken.
Yeah.
Broken monk. So.
Broken bard.
Broken bard. I meant yeah. So let's look at it from S plus and see if we're happy with it. I think those two definitely stay in S plus.
Stay there.
S tier. Those are the two best spellcasters.
Yeah.
Bard just the most fun. Wizard has the most versatility in spellcasting. You can have that high intelligence modifier, and having a high intelligence modifier applies to a lot of different abilities that are going to come in handy. A tier, that's really good, I think, because those are like two of the better fighters.
And then another thing about sorcerers is they have so many spell slots.
Yeah.
That they can cast just about any spell you'd want. Like where I am, I'm level 7, right? We're level 7 or level 8.
Yeah, we're level 7 right now.
And I have so much versatility. I mean, I have fire spells, I have lightning spells, I have ice spells. Those are just the ones I chose to use. And a lot of bosses do have resistance to certain elements. I have an answer for all of that.
Yeah, you're right. You do have an answer for everything. It's kind of annoying. Every time you're like, oh, I can do this. It's like, great.
Okay, well, I'll shoot it with lightning.
But it's cool. I like it though. Yeah, and then B tier, I think that's really good. Those are the three utility ones that aren't quite as useful as maybe these up here in S tier, but they're still good. Then we got C tier, Warlock. I haven't played a Warlock ever, so honestly I can't speak on it. But I think you're right, not as many spell classes. But if you multi-class, apparently it's amazing.
Yeah.
And monk at the bottom, just because it doesn't do anything better than anybody else. There's nothing that it does that someone else can't do better, except for like movement.
Yeah.
But I still want to play monk all the time.
Oh,
like,
definitely.
I love it. And that's the thing, truthfully, I almost did something really cheesy and just moved all in the S plus.
No, I thought you were gonna do that. I was like, you know what? In the end, they're all S+.
They're all S plus tier.
It's Dungeons and Dragons. It's whatever you want.
That's the beauty of it.
If you were gonna do that, I was gonna tell you just put them all in F tier because we're all nerds and it doesn't matter.
Because we're all nerds, it doesn't matter, right? Yeah, exactly. But
and you all have your own opinions. So
but that's the thing. It's all fun. Yeah, whatever you want. Now, just looking at it from a strictly objective point of view, I think this is best. Also, but here's another thing, though. Monk is super easy to play, I think.
That is a good point. It is a beginner's best.
So it's a really
it's not it's not the best friend. Fighter is the beginner's
best friend. Fighter's the beginner's best. That's what if
you're playing a beginner, play a human fighter.
And probably the most complicated ones would be Paladin.
Definitely.
And the spellcasters and the Cleric and stuff like that. Those are probably the more complicated ones, Druid especially. Ranger's pretty easy to start with, but it takes a little bit of time to get used to some of the spells.
Yeah.
So that's a good spot for them. I think you're right. I think I'm pretty satisfied with that tier ranking. What is your favorite personal class?
My favorite personal class? Bards. It's a common favorite, but they're so much fun. Because they really can be just whatever you want.
You're right. They can be whatever you want. It's a lot of fun.
The most ridiculous idea you could ever have, put it into a bard and you got it.
Yeah. Also, you sing. So, there you go.
You get to sing.
Yeah. Or play any... It's so much fun when it's like... It's so like overwhelming actually when I play bards. Like, pick 4 instruments. Oh my god.
But see, that's the thing.
I don't know.
You don't have to do that. Andre made a really good point to Logan. Logan was like, I want to make a bard, but I don't know. I can't sing. And he was like, make a bard that does dad jokes. Vicious mockery, psychic damage, dad jokes.
Be a comedian.
Yeah, be a comedian bard.
That's
it works.
fun. Yeah, Bards
can be anything you want.
And know what I really like about Bard? A lot of people are like, I want to be a Bard, but I don't want my character to know spells. You tweak it a little bit. Instead of knowing actually how to do Thunderclap, you drum. and it's just like that's where the ability comes from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You have magical.
You have
Slightly,
magical.
you have magical items that produce those spells.
Right, exactly. You have magical items that produce those spells. Like, just tweak it a little bit and make it whatever you want it to be. My personal favorite is probably Ranger, of course,
Yeah.
only because I've played it so much. But right now, I'm really thinking that my Monk Fighter multi-class is going to be the most fun thing I've ever done. We got to talk about that, actually. We can have our little own session 0 here. Monk is probably my favorite one. That's the thing. That just goes to show. It's at the bottom, but it's my favorite. It's a lot of people's favorite thing to play. It's so much fun.
No, definitely.
Because it's all about just because none of some are better than others, but this isn't a game you win. You know, you don't win at D&D.
No,
you're just playing.
The winning is coming from the fun you're having with your friends.
Yeah, and with any of these classes you can do that, but
yeah.
I think that's definitely good. Maybe we should do races next. We'll do races again one day. That's kind of racist, though.
That is kind of racist.
Yeah, and it's kind of harder to do because, like, well, actually, it might be easier because it's like very straightforward. Like, there's one thing to look at.
Maybe do you want to get banned on YouTube?
What?
We're talking about races, right?
Oh no! Don't no.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Not yet. Not yet.
No.
Cancel OBS before I do it.
Go to this. So that is our ranking of every class in D&D 5th edition. Not including the subclasses. Subclasses will take a long time, but maybe one day. I think we'd have to have like Logan and Andre here to help us with that one.
That'd have to be a group thing.
That would definitely be a group thing because that is a lot to look through, and we don't know all of them. Mm-hmm. We'd have to like just open up the books and be flipping through and crap like that. It'd be crazy. What do you think of my thumbnail? I like my thumbnail.
It's a good thumbnail.
Thank you. So that was our ranking. Let us know what you think in the comments below. My other tier video got like 50 views. So,
50.
I know. So that's nice. Maybe this one will too. I'm gonna chug out those tier videos. So let us know. I don't know what else to rank in D&D other than like races. What is there else to really pick from? You know.
Some people do magic items.
Magic items, yeah. But have you seen my deck of cards that I have with the magic items? It's all so many monsters. The coolest monsters.
Yeah, we could do the coolest monsters.
Coolest monsters. Whatever. We'll see. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay creative. Check out the description for all the other stuff we do. Check out my other tier list videos. And also, I am on a very fun podcast with my friends over at theScienceFictionary.com. That's a pretty great podcast. Pretty good views on that one, too. Pretty good views on it.
No, never watched it.
Yeah, I know, but it's the really funny nerd podcast. Yeah. And lots of fun. I'm in every episode of the Science Fictionary podcast and some of their Coruscant Radio Underground podcast, which is all about Star Wars. Check out those links in the description below. And don't forget to check us out here at Stay Creative every Sunday for a brand new creative conversation about anything. Sometimes we talk about Dungeons & Dragons. Thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay creative.